Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Art Whisper 88. Now I have here a bunch of paints that are almost empty, and instead of having these dry up in the tubes, which does happen even if the cover is closed, I might as well use them. So why waste good material when it's right there? Now, I don't have a particular design in mind, but what I'm going to do is lay down some of the colors. You see, even if the cap is closed, it tends to dry up after a while, especially when they've been sitting in a drawer for a while. So I'm just going to squeeze out what I can. Okay. Here's some azo orange. You see that it forms a scab. Now down the road I may have to cut this open to get every little drop. This is Lucas Arctic. This is also almost on its last leg. Now the Widemouth jars seem to be easier. It's easier to get the paint out than the small tubes. Now to spread this, I am going to use this is a small spreader. You can get this from a hardware store. It's used to repair patches in the wall. I'm going to do random vertical and horizontal strokes. See, these colors blend very nicely. Now this technique is inspired by the German artist Gerard Richtor. I have seen his work in some exhibits, and they are really very impressive, especially the scale. They are enormous paintings. They fill an entire room, and they really made quite an impression on me. So in a way, this is a good way to make use of leftover paint that's almost gone. Okay. I'm just going to roll this out to get rid of the high spots. And I'm not exerting too much pressure on the brayer. Okay, I'm just going to clean out some areas here. It's always good to have a rag handy for this purpose. Okay. Now I'm going to add a few marks with my, I call this my magic wand. This is a branch of an aloe vera plant from the deserts of Arizona. And it does give some very organic lines. And sometimes the lines themselves become the subject matter. Okay. Again, I am using my favorite Richardson watercolor paper, which is cold press. It's 135 pound. And I'm going to give the paper a chance to absorb the paint. It takes a little while, like 5 to 6 minutes. So it's good to let the paper rest a little bit on the Gelli plate so it can pick up as much paint as possible. Now there's a fine line between leaving it too soon and taking it off for too long. Now if it is left on too long, there's a danger of tearing, and if you take it off too soon, there won't hardly be any transfer. So you have to find the middle ground, and that takes a lot of testing and experimenting. But I find that 5 minutes is like an optimum time to leave the paper on. But I encourage you to do your own experiments. Okay, let's see how we made out. Okay, now this will make a nice background. So let me air dry this. I think this is an interesting ghost. Let me see if I can retrieve this. This is fluorescent blue. And this is phthalo green. These are both dark colors. No, this is acrylic and it has a lot of extenders. And I think it's the extender that enables it to pick up the ghost very well. So the extender works like a matte medium, very similar in effect. So what I'm hoping is the dark green and the blue will activate the leftover paint and pick it up. I think we have a good transfer, because I gave it more than enough time to absorb the paint. So it picked up most of the paint. It looks like a map. Like a map of the ocean. Okay. Very cool. So I will air dry this. Now while this is air drying, I have some more wonderful submissions for open call for you to enjoy and share with everyone. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that wonderful display of talent from our viewers all over the world. Now, knowing myself, I cannot leave well enough alone, so I want to plan another layer for the first print. I'm going to do these shapes again. And this time, I'm going to make them like a horseshoe shape. So what's going to happen here is the shape that I'm cutting out is going to act as a mask. So I have a positive shape and a negative shape. Kind of like lobster claws. And then the rest I will do some ovals. Okay. So let me arrange these on the gel plate. And this is my acetate, which I use to protect the surface of the Gelli plate because it's very sticky. And anything I put here is going to get stuck if I'm not careful. So I'm going to arrange these shapes. Okay, I think that will do. So I do like that mixture of iridescent white and Mars black, which makes a gunmetal color. So I'm going to do that. Actually, I just found this. This is golden iridescent silver. I'm going to try this, mix it with a little black, and I will come up with a gunmetal color. Now I'm going to mix some matte medium just to add to its transparency. Okay. So I'm using my brush to apply the paint. I'm trying to hit all the high spots, making them as even as I can. Now I don't need to pile the paint on very thick because I'm hoping that it will be transparent enough that you can see what's underneath. But like every other session I do, I always think of it as an experiment. I have to approach it with an open mind because it might work, it may not work. So I try not to get disappointed if it doesn't turn out the way I want. But you never know. And that's the exciting thing about printmaking. Okay. I think I hit all the high spots. One thing I do like about using cardstock, I don't need to wash these, because washing stencils can be a pain. Okay. So here is the first pull with all the light colors. Again, I'm going to leave this on for about 5 minutes, just to give the paper a chance to absorb the paint. Okay, let's see how we made out. Very interesting textures. I like the contrast between the gunmetal and the bright colors. I think it changes the character of the print. And it's iridescent. You can see the metallic sheen. So I will air dry this and work on the second piece. Okay, here's the second piece. Now, I'm sure many of you would say, oh, you should just leave it alone, but not in my book. I always want to add something else and push the envelope. So I have here some used masks or stencils, and I pre-soaked them to soften them up. And I want to arrange them on this surface because it has a lot of contrast. So let me get started with that. I am going to use a matte medium. I'm using it as an adhesive. And since matte medium is transparent, it is not going to show. Now, since I pre-soaked the stencil, it is very compliant. It doesn't fight me. Let's see, what else do I have here? Now, if I didn't soak these would start curling up and not sticking right away, which is a pain in the butt. Okay. Now the general rule is odd numbers. So I have 5 objects here. It seems to work for me as opposed to using even numbers. Okay. So I'm going to let this air dry and then recap with both pieces. Okay, everybody, here's my favorite part of this video where I get to show you the finished print. Now there's a little bit of glare here because the paint is metallic. So you can see when I shift the angle, so the metallic shine of the gunmetal shows through, and it has a kind of a bluish cast. Maybe it's because it's right next to the light blue. And I'm glad that the brush strokes are very obvious. So it has a almost three-dimensional effect because the paint seems to be raised, and it changes as you shift the angle of the paper. That's the first piece. And here's the second one. Very different from the first one, but I do like the very strong contrast between the orange and the dark green. And as you can see, the matte medium disappears completely. So it's a very clean mounting. There's no sign of too much glue. So there you have it. I hope you liked this video. I had a lot of fun doing this, and thank you for all the very talented viewers who submitted their artwork to share with everybody. Please pay a visit to artwhisperer88.com, which is my storefront, and any sales and or donations will help to keep this channel going. So thank you once more, and I hope to see you next time.